After my divorce from Albert was finalized, I started a new chapter in my life by moving in with my daughter Diana. About 8 months into this new life, something unexpected happened. On one of my days off, I was relaxing at home with Diana when I got a surprising phone call from my mother. She told me that Albert and his mother had suddenly shown up at my parents' house without being invited. Feeling worried and curious, I quickly got dressed and rushed over to my parents' house. When I arrived, I was surprised to find Albert and his mother sitting on the living room sofa, apparently waiting for me. Confused about why they were there, I asked, "Why are you here at my parents' house?" Albert's response shocked me. He demanded that I return the money I supposedly owed him. Let me introduce myself. I'm Judy, a 38-year-old office worker. I was married to Albert for 10 years, and we have a daughter, Diana, who is now in the 8th grade. We met on a blind date and connected instantly because of his warm, friendly, and cheerful nature. Our relationship grew from high school sweethearts to life partners, and he proposed after we had dated for a year. Our wedding was a joyful event, attended by my close group of high school friends. We were all deeply involved in each other's lives, celebrating major milestones together. Over time, each friend in our close-knit circle found their partner and got married, creating a tightly bound community of married couples. We were a happy family, and I always believed our home would be a place of love and support. As we grew older, our group of friends transitioned from carefree singles to married adults. Shortly after I announced my pregnancy, it seemed my friends did too. Soon we became a circle of mothers, sharing the joys and challenges of parenting together. It felt like we were all navigating life side by side, and I believed our bond would last forever. I loved being both a wife and a mother, and I was also passionate about my career. After graduating from college, I got a job in the planning and development department of a large company. My days were busy, and the work was demanding but fulfilling. Each day brought new lessons and challenges. One of my friends, who was a stay-at-home mom, once teased me, saying, "You're a workaholic, Judy, but you also manage to keep a wonderful family life. It's almost like you're living two lives." She admired my strength, though I often joked that I wished I had the endless energy of a strong man. Both Albert and Diana played important roles in helping me relax after long days at work. When I got home, Diana would greet me with a bright, "Oh, Mommy, welcome home." Her youthful enthusiasm and warm hugs melted away the day's stress. After Diana was born, Albert switched to part-time work at a local cafe, allowing him to take care of her, pick her up from school, and prepare dinner. This arrangement not only supported my career, but also ensured that I came home to a freshly cooked meal, which was a huge relief. Albert's thoughtful cooking helped me unwind and feel refreshed. Evenings at home were a cherished time. Diana and I would often take baths together, chatting about our days and sharing little stories. This simple, everyday interaction brought me immense joy and fulfillment. My life was a beautiful balance of professional success and home life happiness, all made possible by the unwavering support and kindness of Albert and Diana. Their support not only boosted my energy but also deepened my dedication and passion for my work. Together we had created a life that was both rewarding and busy, proving that with the right support, you can have it all. As my career progressed, I began to achieve significant success. I was rewarded with a promotion, which brought more responsibilities. This meant working overtime and often coming home late. By this time, Diana had grown older and understood the demands of my job better, so she was able to manage more on her own. Meanwhile, Albert also increased his hours at the cafe, becoming more involved in the world of coffee. Recently, I started exploring different coffee shops, enjoying their unique beans. Today, I even brought home some coffee beans and cakes from a new bakery I found. I suggested we enjoy them together with some coffee, excited to share this with Albert, who had become passionate about roasting and experimenting with different types of beans at his job. This made the coffee he brewed at home exceptionally good. Albert and Diana were both very supportive of my dedication to my career, but despite their understanding, I began to notice a growing distance within our family. The first sign that something was wrong came when Diana approached me with a concern. "What's up? You wanted to talk about something?" I asked her. "The other day, when I went to see a movie with friends, I saw Dad with another woman," she said, her voice uncertain. I was shocked by her words. Diana continued, "They weren't holding hands or anything, but they seemed quite close. Lately, I've noticed Dad talking a lot on the phone before you get home. Sometimes he's so engrossed that he doesn't listen to me. He looks happy while he's on the phone. At first, I thought he was texting or talking to you. But after seeing him with that woman, I'm starting to wonder if he was talking to her instead." Diana's expression was filled with sadness. Being in middle school, she was very aware and sensitive to such things, and it was clear she was troubled by what she saw. I was equally stunned. The thought that Albert, who I always believed put Diana first, might be involved with someone else was heartbreaking. This revelation required a careful and sensitive approach, as our family's unity was at stake. "I'm so sorry, sweetie. I didn't realize we were making you feel this way. I've been too focused on work, haven't I? I said, feeling guilty as I looked at Diana. No, it's okay that you work hard, Mom. Don't feel bad about that, Diana reassured me, her maturity in that moment beyond her years. I was touched by her understanding and compassion. Thank you, Diana, I replied, my heart heavy. I'll talk to your dad about this. If it turns out he's having an affair, I think I'll have to consider a divorce. Is that okay with you? She nodded solemnly. I don't like the idea of Dad having an affair. Just knowing that and still being with him would make me feel bad. Seeing Diana so distressed made me realize just how much I had overlooked our family's needs. Determined to address this issue, especially since Diana had bravely brought it up, I decided to hire a private investigator to look into Albert's activities. The findings were as shocking as they were conclusive. Albert was indeed having an affair, just as Diana suspected, and there was photographic evidence to prove it. What stunned me most was the identity of his affair partner, Tiffany, one of my high school classmates and a fellow member of our mom's group. I was more hurt by the betrayal of my trusted friend, Tiffany, than by Albert's infidelity. Tiffany, a stay-at-home mom and supposedly a loyal friend, was involved with Albert, neglecting her family commitments. When I saw the evidence, I was overwhelmed with emotion. Alone in my room, I was grateful that Diana hadn't walked in on me during this moment. The photos would have only added to her distress. I wasn't ready to confront Albert yet, and I couldn't let Diana see these disturbing images. I took a few deep breaths to calm myself. Shortly after, another friend from our mom's group mentioned she had changed jobs, which gave me an idea. I suggested we all get together, seeing it as the perfect chance to observe Tiffany without revealing that I knew about the affair. The gathering was set for 2 weeks later. In the meantime, I quietly contacted a lawyer and began preparing for a potential divorce, readying myself for the challenges ahead. I gently informed Diana about what I had discovered and told her that her dad and I would likely be getting a divorce. Together, we spent our free time looking for a new apartment, trying to find a place that would represent a fresh start for us both. As the day of the gathering approached, I felt a mix of anticipation and dread. When the day finally arrived, I engaged in casual conversation with my friends, starting by asking about one friend's new job. We all shared updates on our lives, and Tiffany seemed unaware that I knew her secret. During the conversation, she complained about her routine life, saying, "I'm just a housewife stuck in the same routine, unlike all of you who have careers." "You don't have to work because your husband supports you," another friend pointed out. "I do appreciate my husband," Tiffany replied, "but sometimes I feel a little bored." At that moment, I decided to address the elephant in the room. "So is that why you're having an affair with other people's husbands?" I asked, turning directly to Tiffany. The room fell silent, and the casual atmosphere quickly shifted to tension. "Judy, what do you mean by that?" Tiffany stammered, her face turning pale. "It seems that Tiffany is having an affair with my husband, Albert," I said plainly. "What? No way. You must be joking," another friend interjected, trying to defend Tiffany. Tiffany tried to deflect. "That's right, Judy. What are you talking about all of a sudden? You must have confused me with someone else." "Oh, really?" I countered, my voice steady. "Then why don't you all take a look at this?" I reached into my bag, pulled out the photos, and spread them out on the table for everyone to see. The room erupted into gasps of disbelief. "Oh my gosh!" they exclaimed, turning to Tiffany for explanations. Tiffany, clearly caught off guard and unable to deny the evidence in front of her, covered her mouth with her hand. "I'm sorry," she began, her voice trembling. "I happened to walk into the cafe where your husband works. I didn't know he worked there at first, but then I started going there regularly. My husband provides for me, but he's been neglecting me since we got married. I was feeling lonely," Tiffany continued, tears forming in her eyes. Despite her emotional response and attempts to explain her actions, the betrayal cut deep. An affair, especially with a friend's husband, was a breach of trust that was hard to forgive. Her reasons might explain her actions, but they didn't excuse them. The revelation was painful but necessary, confirming the reality I had begun to suspect and reshaping the dynamics of our friendships and personal lives. Throughout the confrontation, I maintained my composure, unaffected by Tiffany's tears. "I'm sorry to everyone else here, but Tiffany, I need to let you know that I will be seeking alimony from you," I announced firmly. "I also took a formal step earlier today. I sent a certified letter to your mailbox. Your husband should have already seen it." Tiffany's face fell as she absorbed the seriousness of the situation. "Oh no," she murmured, a mix of worry and disbelief in her voice. "How could he do something so terrible?" she asked, still reeling from the shock. "It's far worse to have an affair with a friend's husband, especially when you're married and have a child," I replied, steady and resolute. "You need to face the consequences and make amends for your actions." Visibly shaken, Tiffany nodded in acknowledgement. One of my friends chimed in, "We really can't trust you anymore, Tiffany." With that, we left the restaurant, leaving Tiffany to deal with the fallout. Once I had dealt with Tiffany, it was time to confront Albert. I was certain Tiffany had already informed Albert about what had happened. When I arrived home, Albert was waiting at the door, panicked. "What have you done?" "I just got a call from Tiffany." "Are you making our affair public? How could you be so terrible?" he demanded. "You acted like a good husband, but you were cheating on me. And it's not just about Tiffany. How could you do that to her family?" I retorted. "It's ridiculous. It seems people who have affairs think that as long as the other person doesn't find out, it's not a big deal. But what you did was wrong, and it all needs to be revealed as part of your punishment. That's why I'm going to divorce you and seek alimony and child support." Faced with clear evidence of the affair, Albert couldn't deny the truth. He agreed to the divorce, though he was hesitant about the financial implications. However, after I hired a strong lawyer and made it clear I was ready to take the case to court, he finally consented to the financial arrangements. Following the divorce, Albert sold the house we had lived in and moved to a new apartment. I pursued and received alimony from both Albert and Tiffany, totaling $50,000 from each, and I also secured child support from Albert. Once everything was settled, Diana and I began our new life together. Though the ordeal was traumatic, it marked the start of a new chapter where we could seek peace and rebuild our lives. Over time, the emotional wounds from my divorce began to heal. However, about 8 months later, I faced a new challenge. One day, while enjoying a relaxed day at home with Diana, my peace was disrupted by an urgent call from my mother. She informed me that my ex-husband Albert and his mother had unexpectedly shown up at my parents' house and forced their way inside without permission. My father wasn't home at the time, so my concerned mother quickly called me. I hurriedly prepared myself and went over to my parents' house. Upon arriving, I found Albert and his mother sitting nonchalantly on the living room sofa as if they belonged there. Confused and alarmed, I asked, "What are you both doing here at my parents' house all of a sudden?" Albert's response was shocking. He demanded, "I want you to give me back the money you owe me." "Huh? I never borrowed any money from you," I replied, perplexed. He retorted, "I paid $25,000 for our wedding, remember? You were in charge of the wedding, so that money was lent to you. Now that we're divorced, you're claiming it was all a fraud. Honestly, I could sue you for marriage fraud, but for now, all I want is that $25,000 back as a settlement." This unreasonable request took me aback. His mother also chimed in, insisting that I pay him as soon as possible. It became clear that Albert was struggling financially, which might have been driving his irrational demands. He had taken a full-time job at the cafe where he used to work part-time, but the pay was modest. Firmly, I reminded him, "We were both equally involved in the wedding, and I paid more of our living expenses than you did. The $25,000 is just a small part of what I contributed. Don't bother me with such unreasonable demands." As the tension escalated, they refused to leave. Just then, my father arrived, having been alerted by my mother. "What are you guys doing here?" he demanded sternly. Albert repeated his claims to my father, who, although usually calm, was visibly furious and shocked by Albert's audacious demands. "It's your fault for having an affair in the first place. If you're going to make such outrageous demands, get out of here," my father asserted, trying to expel them from the house. In a desperate turn, Albert fell to his knees and begged, "Please, Judy, lend me money. Not only are you demanding alimony, but Tiffany's husband is also after me, and I can't afford it. Even $6,000 would help." It was disheartening to see him in such a state, begging for money. However, I responded firmly, "No, I can't do that. Go home." The situation highlighted the deep desperation Albert was experiencing, but it also reaffirmed my resolve to maintain boundaries and protect my family's peace. As the situation with my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law escalated, my father intervened, suggesting he'd handle it. "Fine, I'll get the money. Just wait here," he said calmly and walked to another room. Curious, I followed him. With a mischievous grin, he said, "Well, I have plenty of money. Since we have it, why not give it to them?" He opened the closet and pulled out some cash, creating a sense of suspense. "I wonder how this will play out," I mused silently. My father then put the bills into an envelope and handed it to Albert. With faces lit up with satisfaction, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law left with the envelope, thinking their plan had worked. As soon as they stepped out, I locked the door behind them and made a quick call to the police. It didn't take long for Albert and his mother to realize the money was fake. They rushed back, pounding on our door in anger. "Hey, what's going on? This is Monopoly money. I don't want this fake cash," Albert shouted, his voice thick with fury. I couldn't help but laugh as I responded through the door, "Since we have so much of it, I thought I'd share it with you." Albert's frustration peaked, and he began banging even harder, now kicking the door with his feet. Their actions only escalated the situation further. As Albert and his mother wreaked havoc on our door, the police arrived and caught them in the act. The scene drew the attention of the neighbors, many of whom witnessed their arrest. In the end, not only did Albert not get any money, but he was also fined for the disturbance and had to cover the damage to our front door. Ironically, one of the bystanders was a regular at the cafe where Albert worked, and word of his antics spread quickly. As a result, Albert lost his job and struggled to find new work. He had to move back in with his parents, and his in-laws ended up covering his alimony and child support payments. To safeguard my family further, I filed a restraining order against my former in-laws, ensuring that any future incidents would lead to an immediate police response. Now life is more peaceful and fulfilling. I'm devoted to working hard and relishing the time watching my daughter, Diana, grow up.